This is question 2, 2012 Higher Paper 1. We're asked to find the gradient of the tangent to this cubic curve y equals x cubed minus 6x plus 1 at one of the points on the curve. Now you're aware that when you have curves that the gradient at a particular point in that curve will be the gradient of the tangent at that point. So it depends where you are on a curve what the gradient is. If that's the x-axis, if you're there at -2, there at -1 for instance, that might be 1 and that might be 3. But depending on what the x value is, you will get a different value for the gradient. So we basically need a formula that we can replace x by that will tell us the various values of the gradient. And of course, if you remember, the formula will be got by differentiating, finding dy by dx, and that gives you the gradient. So that's just a general chat about that. Let's get rid of all that rubbish. So we need to start by differentiating. So we'll start with the cubic y equals x cubed minus 6x plus 1, and we differentiate. We do that by differentiating each term. X cubed, remember there's a rule, differentiating takes x to the power n to n times x to the power n minus 1. So you multiply by the index and take 1 away from the index. So the 3 would appear at the front. X, take 1 away from 3, you get 2. Next thing we have to do is differentiate minus 6 times x. When you differentiate ax, you get a. An example, for instance, would be y equals 2x, which passes through the origin. When you differentiate 2x, you would have to get 2. The gradient is 2 anywhere along that line. So you just produce the number at the front of the x term. That's the coefficient of x. So in this case, it's minus 6. So that becomes minus 6. And in the plus 1, if you imagine a graph y equals 1, it's horizontal, parallel to the x-axis. It has a gradient of 0. So differentiating 1 will produce 0 as its gradient. So that, in effect, that term disappears. So there's our formula for the gradient. dy by dx equals 3x squared minus 6. That, of course, depends where you are on this curve, and where you are on this curve, it depends what the value of x is, or the value of x tells you where you are on this curve. So we're at the point where x equals -2. So we'll need to say that. So when x equals -2, dy by dx is equal to, and we just plug -2 into this formula, 3 lots of -2 squared minus 6. So that's 3 lots of -2 times -2 is positive 4. 3 4s are 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. So it's quite a steep uphill tangent at that point in the curve. If you go 1 along, you're going up 6. So the gradient is 6. And if we have a look at the answers, you can see that that's choice D. So choice D.